Hi. Hi, everyone. This is Matt Kramer, digital editor with allthingsinsights.com. And we're here with Duncan Fisher, Chief Show Operation Officer
That's right.
for Cirque du Soleil.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for coming on here on TMRE, the Market Research Event 2025.
I'm delighted to be here. Absolutely delighted to be here.
Well, we are so delighted to have you. You're doing an amazing keynote later,
Mhm.
and probably one of the best titles of the show conference is, how to run your business like a circus.
Yeah.
So just can you tell us a little bit about that theme and about your keynote?
Yeah, absolutely. The idea for the keynote came about because you hear so much these days that this is like a circus and that is like a circus, and it's never in a positive way. It's always referring to a dysfunctional, chaotic situation that something is like a circus. Well, to be honest, that's complete nonsense. Okay, the circus is a place that runs like clockwork, and it's managed by teams of people from all over the world, from all backgrounds, all colors, creeds, who literally trust each other with their lives. So I wrote the keynote as a way to dispel that notion that the circus is a negative thing. It really is an example of clinical operations, of really putting the customer first in everything that we do. So that's what I'm going to be talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, well, the theme of the conference is the next era of insights. Very looking forward into the future. Um, how does your background and your keynote kind of tap into that? Like, what can the insights professional glean? You think in terms of running their operations?
I think I'm going to talk more about how teams interact together. There's three themes that I touch on in the keynote, and that's chemistry, creativity, and customer experience. So in the chemistry bit, it's how to get teams to work together, to trust each other, to empower your employees. In creativity, it's about the company empowering and encouraging creativity within the ranks. And then, if you have chemistry and you have creativity, you will naturally deliver excellent customer experience, customer journeys to your customers. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. It's more along the team building line of things.
Yeah, understanding the customers is so key to market research, and I mean, building the chemistry and the diverse teams that they need to have such a uh, structured mindset in their own teams and operations. Tell us a little bit about um, how can that eh, you know bring about innovation to a team. You know,
Cirque du Soleil has been innovating for 40 years now. But we have a structure that encourages creativity. Creativity is not just something that you can make. It has to be it has to come from the top. It has to be a mindset. It has to be nurtured and become part of the culture of a company. And as we work in whether it's creating a show in the artistic aspect of it, or even in operations, there's plenty of creativity in operations about how do you solve a problem differently, how do you operate more effectively. All these things um, come down to having a goal and having parameters. When you're talking about innovation or creativity, whichever word you want to use about it, if you just sit down with a blank piece of paper, that doesn't work. It's a myth that you can just say, think of something. There has to be direction. There has to be a goal, where you're trying to get to, what are you trying to do, and there has to be basic parameters that you have to adhere to. So no matter what you're trying to innovate or create, you have to have that framework to work in. Otherwise, people are going to spin in circles and not accomplish very much. So we set up that structure to serve both for the artistic innovation and also the operational innovation.
yeah, and how do you empower teams? Certainly, that's something that the insights teams are always trying. As you say, the leadership is from the top,
Yeah.
and how do they empower the team to really be to their fullest potential?
Yeah. So that starts with having um, shared goals, having an understanding of the big picture of what we're trying to accomplish. There has to be a goal. There has to be guiding principles that you're going to use to be able to get to that goal. Then after that, it's about everybody understanding their role within that bigger picture, how their work fits into delivering the goal. And then when you have that understanding, when you have that transparency of what people do, that's when you can build trust within the teams. And when you have that trust, then you can start to have empowerment, and everybody can be empowered to make decisions in line with the company's goals. So it's all about getting people to understand that goal, which goes then to communication. How do you communicate that goal? How do people understand the intent of what it is that you're trying to do? So we, for example, we're a global company. So I have teams all over the world. But every day I put everybody, video conferencing is perfect. Now we can do it without even thinking about it. But we have actually, we don't just have one huddle a day, we have two, because we have people on every different time zone almost that there is. So we have what we call a West and East huddle, and we have a West huddle at the end of the day, because it'll be different people coming to work at a different time. And so, but it connects everybody. It's so important that everybody understands what everybody else's role is in addition to theirs, to get that unity, that common pursuit of the same goal. But it all comes down to us giving the intent, giving the goals, giving the intent, and then letting the people, empowering the people to be able to deliver that.
Just one last question. I noticed in your biography, you were actually a performer at one point in your career.
Sure.
How does that relate to your position now? Like, what were some lessons learned there that you take with you?
Well, yes, I was a gymnast in school. I was in the junior British gymnastics team, and then at some point I was offered the chance to literally run away with the circus and be an acrobat. And I did that. And so it's given me the advantage of seeing things basically from the very bottom of the ladder, and now towards the top. But when I started performing, basically as soon as I arrived on the circus, I was asked, "Do you want to make some extra money?" And of course I wanted to make. I was 20 years old and broke. Of course I wanted to make some extra money. So I started loading the seats into the back of the truck when we moved from city to city. Then I learned how to put the tent up. Then I became in charge of the crews, and it kind of went from there. But the point is that I've learned every job on the way up the ladder. So it gives me that credibility with the staff now that I've been there, I've done that. And I'm actually the only ex-performer to be in the C-suite at Cirque du Soleil since Guy Laliberté, the founder. So that's it doesn't just give me credibility with the technicians, but also with the artistic and the performance side as well. So I've seen it from both sides, and I've seen it all the way from the bottom to the top. So that credibility is something that helps me.
Absolutely. And how to run your business like a circus, not chaos, but how the magic happens.
That's it.
Duncan, thank you so much for coming on today and talking with us. Good luck with your keynote today.
Okay, thank you very much. Great to
you.
see you.
You too.
Thanks.